Within all of the new reveals that we got in regards for the RE4 Remake, there have been a few major gaming companies like IGN that were able to play a demo of the game, where you start out at the beginning of the game and play all the way to the main village area when Ada rings the church bell. With the demo being playtested and in some recent interviews in regards to the RE4 Remake, we have received quite a lot of interesting new information that I want to share with you guys today. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to clear up is the many concerns about Krauser's inclusion in the RE4 Remake. As we know, he wasn't revealed in the latest trailers, and when you combine this with the huge rumor stating that Krauser would be cut, then it's no surprise that Krauser's absence in the trailer has been worrisome for many. Luckily for us though, the early playtesters have confirmed that Krauser will be in the game. He will appear in a scene at the very beginning of the game.
Saw Krauser in the flashback.
Wow.
99% sure it was him. Cannot 100% confirm.
Describe it to me. What was the scene?
It was this flashback of him like training.
Okay.
And it was a dude with blonde hair and a red beret.
Yeah, it's gotta be Krauser then.
So there you go with that. Is the very beginning of the game.
I'm going to assume that Krauser will appear in the mission briefing scene we saw from the first trailer. Now we really don't have any info for if he will play just as big a role from the original in the remake, but since he does appear in the beginning and they do have a character model made up for him, it is very likely that we will see him a lot in the remake. In the trailers and gameplay, they mostly showed off the beginning parts of the game, showing us a lot of the village area and little clips of the castle area, but nothing was shown off for the island sequence, which is exactly where Krauser takes the spotlight. With that said, I believe that as we get closer and closer to the game's release date, there will be more reveals for the game that could include parts of the island area and maybe some of the enemies we will discover there, including the Regenerators, U3, JJ, and Krauser himself. Now aside from this very important Krauser detail, there were quite a few other new pieces of information revealed from playtesters, which I will go over now. Leon's jacket is indeed based on the one he wore in Resident Evil 3.5. The game is a fresh reimagination, but with the same volume of gameplay. The producer wants the game to be just as close to the original as possible, while modernizing the gameplay and level design. The producer replayed the original GameCube version multiple times before developing the remake. In the game, you can shoot while walking. The knife in this game will have durability, just like the Resident Evil 2 remake. It can also break with a newly added parry mechanic. There's an addition to combat where you can perform stealth kills by attacking enemies from behind. The villagers have a lot more models when compared to the original game. The remake has a lot more enemies to fend off when compared to the original. Enemies can now jump out of closets to surprise attack the player. The big tower in the main village area will collapse if the player attempts to climb it. Dr. Salvador will be able to saw through buildings and debris to reach the player. And lastly, it states that the cutscene where the Ganados leave for the church is no longer in the game. Instead, you will have full control of Leon while you watch the villagers leave. Even though this cutscene is no longer a thing, IGN has confirmed that the iconic bingo line will return in the remake, which hopefully this means that Capcom will plan to retain most of the cheesy dialogue from the original.
No thanks, bro.
Now these next few pieces of information come from an interview with the producer of the game, Hiroyuki Kobayashi, where he starts off by saying that the RE4 Remake will be just about the same length as the original game. Now if you guys haven't seen my map breakdown video, upon further inspection of the map, every location seems to be there from the original, with a few new additions to go along with it. Now on this RE4 Remake map, there was obviously no island in sight. This had many people concerned that Capcom will completely cut the island sequence from the game, but I think that this new statement from the producer pretty much confirms that it will be in the game to some sort of degree. Now with that said, I do think that the heavy action chapters might be toned down a little bit and replaced with some creepy lab segments to fit the darker tone, but only time will tell. Next, the producer stated that the RE4 Remake will have a lot more survival horror elements when compared to the original game. He then states that Leon's interactions with the characters are more profound, and the team collected all available information during the past 17 years to help improve the characters. This is a very good sign and shows us that they will be closely listening to the major fan requests for the game. Because this is the case, I do think it is very well possible that Luis's role will somewhat be expanded upon from the original, and Ashley will probably be less annoying and might even aid Leon a bit in battle. Now further into the interview with the producer, he declined to comment about the inclusion of the Separate Ways campaign, but did confirm that Ada will keep the same role in the story as she did in the original game. He also said that he didn't want to talk about Jack Krauser until closer to the game's release. He is encouraging players to enjoy the experience instead. And there you have it, that was just about all the new information I could find. Now really quick, I did just make a second channel where I will mostly be uploading gameplay and trailers for the hottest upcoming games. So if that is something you are interested in, or you just want to show some support, then make sure to head on over there and subscribe. The link will be in the description. But anyways guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.